The universe knights and undying servants within Thousand Treasures River all looked up at the boundless golden light up in the sky. They were all thrilled as they discussed this event. Unlimited Law Ocean is pouring in, and the undying power flows into Luo Feng's body. What a scene! Primal Chaos City leader looked up, amazed. Even the 108 princes of 9 Remoteness Master won't make such a scene when they become undying. Chaos City leader had seen so much, and he knew this was the case for some beings with large bodies but low density. Hence, the remote ocean body at the height of more than 55,000 miles could transform into an ocean with a diameter of 6 billion miles. Although the ocean was significantly larger, they both contained the same amount of energy. Since the water didn't have the same consistency as flesh and blood, the ocean had a comparatively lower density. However, an ocean with a diameter of 6 billion miles still held a godly power that was billions of times greater than human universe knights. I've witnessed the scene of several special life forms becoming undying, said Primal Chaos City leader. Some of them were tens of millions of miles tall, but the scene was nothing compared to this one. The more impressive the scene was, the more powerful the special life forms were. Does this mean, he wondered, that Luo Feng is stronger than all the special life forms I've known? Chaos City leader found this impossible to fathom, but it was difficult to argue in the face of the unprecedented power that came from the arrival of universe origin law. Luo Feng, there are some deep secrets behind him. Primal Chaos City leader whispered. Perhaps he's only revealing a small portion of his power in front of me. He smiled. All intelligent beings would hide their trump card, it was ingrained in them. Fantastic. When Luo Feng becomes a universe knight, the scene might be more terrific than many universe masters. There's soon to be born a supreme being within human race that can intimidate billions of races in the universe. Primal Chaos City leader nodded mildly. He didn't know what fate Luo Feng had met with. By all appearances, everything he knew, even his remote ocean body, wouldn't have led to such a scene. After all, the remote ocean body only rivaled one of the 108 princes, who were just mediocre special life forms. Obviously, Luo Feng was hundreds if not thousands of times stronger than he looked. This disciple of mine, Primal Chaos City leader looked at Luo Feng's palace from afar and saw Luo Feng sitting there with his legs crossed. The original earthling body had completely become undying. How strong this force is! He smiled. Inside Luo Feng's palace, Luo Feng sat with his legs crossed. The godly force permeated the palace. Tianqin Emperor and Jihong Emperor were both thrilled. Terrific! The force was stronger than that of ordinary universe knights. Master, Tianqin Emperor and Jihong Emperor, who were both groveling, exchanged eye contact, looking frightened. Inside the internal world, an ocean of godly power poured in from the hollow, flooding into the bloody sea. The internal world looked like the apocalypse had come. Howl! Golden horn beast floated in the sky among the pouring waters of the godly power ocean, howling with excitement. Ha ha! Fantastic! Fantastic! Luo Feng, dressed in black, stood atop the golden horn beast, looking at the godly power ocean. My original earthling body, golden horn beast body, and Masha body became undying immediately. Soul imprint merged with the godly power completely, and the godly power is all mine. However, this bloody sea of mine. Luo Feng looked at the bloody sea from afar. Its color was changing. It was originally blood red, but the color appeared to be fading. The density of godly power in the ocean kept getting higher. Hong, long, long. The limitless waters of the godly power ocean poured down and filled the area. The energy a universe knight requires to recover his godly body costs so much that it's much more costly than a treasure. Luo Feng murmured. My remote ocean's godly power is better in quality than a universe knight's, and it has billions of times more godly power, which means my remote ocean is more precious than billions of treasures combined. Perhaps it's as valuable as a true treasure, even a high-end true treasure. Luo Feng smiled, looking at the remote ocean. With this remote ocean by my side, will there be any universe knights who can make me cower? Luo Feng suddenly understood the source of 9 Remoteness Masters' pride. While in the 9 Remoteness Ocean, 9 Remoteness Master wasn't even afraid of Universe Supreme Masters. As for Luo Feng, few Universe Knights could strike him down in his remote ocean. As enormous as the remote ocean was, the Gold Law Ocean from the Universe Origin was much mightier. After a short while, the entire bloody sea was transformed into a godly power ocean. The water was tumbling in the ocean and was made up of godly power a billion times stronger than a sector lord's power. Remote ocean, with a diameter of 6 billion miles. Luo Feng looked down at the remote ocean. Creation! Suddenly, a remote ocean body that was more than 5,000 miles tall walked out from the waves. Recover. The larger the body was, the more quickly he absorbed the godly power. A 6-foot human absorbed godly power hundreds of millions of times more slowly than a world tree 60 million miles tall. This went without saying. Appetite of an ant was nothing compared to a dragon. A dragon would eat more in a single bite than an ant could eat in its entire life. In the same way, a godly body standing 5,000 miles tall would only take the remote ocean a couple of minutes to supply its energies. Dissipate! Gather! Remote ocean body instantly dissipated into water and merged with the ocean. The remote ocean expanded, but only slightly. An outsider probably wouldn't have been able to tell simply by looking at it. It's true that after becoming undying, the remote ocean can expand further, Luo Feng whispered. However, remote ocean can only expand by absorbing godly power gradually. It's so large that it needs a huge amount of godly power to increase its diameter by even a foot. How many years did it take 9 Remoteness Master to expand his ocean? Luo Feng felt fortunate. If he hadn't become undying and couldn't transform his bodies into godly ones at one time, he would have needed an eternity to supply enough godly power for an ocean with a diameter of more than 6 billion miles. Inside the palace, Luo Feng smiled and got up. Master, Tianqin Emperor and Jihong Emperor said respectfully. You two stay here, Luo Feng ordered, then walked out of the palace. Luo Feng teleported himself in front of the palace where Primal Chaos City Leader lived, where some of the undying servants of Universe Knights stood. So powerful! The power! 2 Universe Knights standing afar were terrified, and the undying servants were all trembling. Little did they know that this was only the force coming from the original Earthling body, and it would be hundreds of times more extraordinary if it came from the Golden Horn Beast body or the remote ocean. Luo Feng waited outside the palace. Although the door was open, everything inside was dimming, and he couldn't see things straight. Come in, came a voice from inside the palace. Luo Feng walked into the palace and saw Primal Chaos City Leader standing in the distance. Luo Feng gave a salutation. Teacher. Primal Chaos City Leader gazed at Luo Feng. Have you become undying? He asked after remaining silent for a long while. Yes, Luo Feng answered. Fantastic. You're doing better than I thought. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded with satisfaction. He was content, happy, and even exhilarated. He nurtured all these disciples because he wanted to produce more great beings who could become the future pillars of the human race. Not only did Luo Feng meet his expectations, but he had also surpassed that to a huge extent. Even I can't sense the extent of your power now, Primal Chaos City Leader asked. Do you think you can defeat Shu Chong Emperor? Luo Feng was dazed. He answered, Yes, I can. Indeed, he could. Luo Feng's Golden Horn Beast body had a higher life gene level than Shu Chong Emperor. His willpower, self-created techniques, and true treasures were all Shu Chong Emperor's better. Even if he was defeated once, he could be revived time and time again with his remote ocean. He wasn't afraid of anything with his newfound immortality. Fantastic. Fantastic. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. What's your next step? Find an address of the God Country and build it, Luo Feng answered. A God Country is vital. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. Interiors of the space are immeasurable. Choose a deeper area. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Go, Primal Chaos City Leader said with a wave of his hands. Luo Feng gave a salutation and left. Primal Chaos City Leader wouldn't meddle with Luo Feng's choices given his current power. Luo Feng would be the one to make his decisions from now on. Luo Feng left the primal region and arrived at the God Country of his slaves. Master of my master, where should we go now? The slave of another race groveled in veneration. Star Tower, Luo Feng whispered. Yes, the slave answered and connected with the keepsake in Star Tower. Luo Feng had left it in the Star Tower before. No need to create the God Country first, I can go there later. My remote ocean is better than most Universe Knights quality-wise and quantity-wise. It's outrageously large. I'll see whether I can drive the most powerful true treasure, Star Tower. Luo Feng couldn't wait to give it a try. Star Tower was 9 light years tall. It was so enormous, as if it were covering half the universe. This most power true treasure in the universe had led to mass slaughtering among the 4 pinnacle races, yet no great being was able to take it. The true treasure became a battlefield for billions of races in the universe, and countless undying fighters died inside. Inside the tower, at the core palace, a blurry, golden light was glowing as Luo Feng walked out of the golden light. Star Tower. Luo Feng smiled. He felt the joy from Star Tower. Go to Seal Space. Luo Feng walked to the edge of the palace, and a portal leading to Seal Space appeared. Star Tower was innately a sealing true treasure, and Seal Space was its center. It was vast with black ground and cordilleras. So, Luo Feng flew up and looked down at the ground. Remote ocean, show up! Luo Feng yelled. Hong! With the earth shattering, the remote ocean appeared in the Seal Space out of nowhere. Remote ocean body, Earthling original body, Masha body, and Golden Horn Beast body could all enter and exit the internal world instantly. Of course, after the internal world and space fragmented, being merged and turning into a god country, it would happen no more. The internal world could still exist for a while after someone becoming undying, but after a certain amount of time, the internal world would start to crumble. A diameter of 6 billion miles. Luo Feng stood on the ocean, stepped on the waves, and pride filled his heart. Such godly power! Boundless! Star Tower! Drive! Luo Feng started to control Star Tower with his mind. Willpower wasn't closely related to actual power but had a lot to do with one's training and experience. However, with consciousness bound together with power, a sector lord could kill a universe-level fighter with one look, as his consciousness force could crush a universe-level fighter's soul. After becoming undying, consciousness depended on godly power. Luo Feng's remote ocean body had greater godly power than most universe knights, and he had a terrifically large amount of such power. His consciousness surpassed most universe knights and had reached the universe overlord level. Hong! Long! Water pillars swirled and extended to the hollow around them. They penetrated Star Tower, and the godly power merged with the entire Star Tower. Mysterious force emanated from Star Tower, and the seal stars and law engravings on the heavenly pillar bewildered Luo Feng. It's so complicated. I can't comprehend them at all. But it feels so good when my godly power and Star Tower completely merged with each other. I don't need to care about the meaning of the law engravings. I'll use my force. Luo Feng clenched his teeth and growled. Move! Hong! Star Tower barely trembled. The amplification was so small that it was not visible. This is too difficult to drive. Luo Feng was a bit stupefied. He felt like an ant trying to push a rock. Godly power, burn! Drive! Luo Feng clenched his teeth. Hong! All the godly power in Star Tower started to burn, and it became 1,000 times more powerful. Star Tower started to move, and Luo Feng now felt like an ant carrying a grain of rice. Though it was still heavy, he could at least run with it. Luo Feng stopped after moving Star Tower only a little bit. Stop! Luo Feng stopped burning his godly power. Oh my god! I've already burned godly power dozens of times more than that of remote ocean body. Luo Feng was dazed. Though I can move Star Tower, I can't drive it like I do on other true treasures. Luo Feng shook his head. It was supposed to be easy when utilizing weapons. A spiritual force weapon was supposed to be at light speed when being utilized. When Luo Feng used Star Map, the stars would shoot out like lightning. On the other hand, he needed to burn his godly power when driving Star Tower, and it was still so slow that enemies could totally dodge it. No wonder, Luo Feng whispered. No wonder Masters with Shan Ku said I can only drive Star Tower when I become a Universe Knight. He gave me the 9-volume manual and knew that I had a Golden Horn Beast body. He could tell that I could easily achieve a life gene level thousands of times greater, but he still speculated that I needed to be a Universe Knight. Luo Feng nodded. It seems I don't have enough godly power, and neither do I have deep law comprehension. There were two ways to drive spiritual force weapons. One way was to achieve adequately deep law comprehension, which could amplify the effect of godly power tenfold. The other way was to obtain a large amount of godly power. If I'm really able to drive Star Tower, I'll be capable of changing the size of Star Tower to make it move as fast as lightning. Luo Feng shook his head. I'm only undying. It seems that I'm not yet qualified to use this supreme true treasure. Supreme true treasures were extremely precious in the universe. Only Universe Supreme Masters or Universe Masters could use those true treasures, and one of the reasons was that the conditions for utilizing Supreme True Treasures were so harsh. Although Luo Feng had a perfect life gene level, he was still only undying. He would be dreaming if he thought he was able to drive Star Tower now. If it weren't for the remote ocean, Luo Feng couldn't have even moved Star Tower with his other bodies. After all, he had consumed an enormous amount of godly power just now. Remote ocean, come back! Luo Feng stood above remote ocean. So, the remote ocean went back to his internal world. I will be one of the strongest beings in the universe when I'm able to drive Star Tower, Luo Feng whispered in the palace. He understood that he couldn't compare with universe masters like Primal Chaos City Leader and Master of Skywolf, even though he was indeed incredibly strong. However, his newfound immortality could already be a problem for some universe masters. Star Map was already an ultimate technique. The first move required 160 stars, the second required 520 stars, and the third needed 1,600 stars. When all the 1,600 stars combined, their power was increased exponentially. Luo Feng presumed that he would need more stars when he created later moves of Star Map, so he took some seal stars from Star Tower, and thus the stars on Star Map amounted to 10,000. I'll go and create my god country now. Back to the human territory. Luo Feng stepped into the golden glow. So, he disappeared. Inside the human territory, within the Ganwu universe, Luo Feng teleported himself into a region of space 50 million light-years from Earth, where there was nothing but dying planets and stars. I'll choose this place, Luo Feng whispered. He thought he shouldn't follow any rules when choosing a god country. Zoom! Luo Feng tore the space apart and stepped into the interlayers. There were thousands of layers in the space interlayers. The first layer was shattered, fragmented space. The second layer was the god country. The third layer was the space flood. These were categorized in terms of an ordinary, undying fighter. To the real supreme beings in the universe, there was only one vast layer of space interlayers. The closer it was to the original universe, the smaller the space fragments were, and the farther it was, the larger the fragments were. And the deeper the space interlayers, the more dangerous it got. At the safest areas, even sector lords could survive. However, some areas could be life-threatening even to some universe knights. So, Luo Feng teleported himself and flew past the god country layer. He entered the space flood layer, opened his Shiwu wings, and flew deeper. Ordinary undying fighters will establish their god countries in the god country layer, Luo Feng whispered. Some supreme beings will do the same thing. However, they'll move their god country deeper toward the space flood layer when they become stronger. The deeper it was, the safer the god country would be. Godly power was infused in the Shiwu wings, which made them stronger. It started to fly among the space flood like a flash of light. The space fragments are getting larger and larger, some with diameters of 6 billion miles. Luo Feng could only see those enormous space fragments. There were already land and water on some of them. They were flying at high speed, and once they hit someone, especially the ones with a diameter of 6 billion miles, they could annihilate an emperor instantly. So, Luo Feng flew deeper and deeper. Sometimes he teleported himself to dodge a colossal space fragment. His internal world had a diameter of 600 billion miles, so he needed to choose a space fragment that was of equal height, width, and length. 2 days after, Luo Feng finally saw some space fragments with a diameter of 1 trillion kilometers, and some were even larger. I need to be careful. Space fragments of this size can possibly kill a universe knight. Luo Feng was extremely careful. Those space fragments all came from the space flood, and they could easily hit someone because they flew so fast. Fortunately, Luo Feng had his Shiwu wings, which helped him dodge the space fragments nimbly. Luo Feng teleported himself around a space fragment that had the largest diameter of 3.9 trillion miles and the smallest diameter of 1.3 trillion miles. It could merge with his internal world completely. Build the god country! Luo Feng opened his wings and triggered his internal world. Suddenly, an invisible force burst out from his internal world, and it locked that space fragment. An enormous world showed up out of nowhere, as if it existed in an illusion or another dimension. It flew toward the targeted space fragment, and the space fragment was likewise drawn to it. One looked real, and one looked like a void. They got closer and closer to each other. Hong! Long! Space trembled, and all the other space fragments avoided it. The world and the huge space fragment merged, stabilizing each other. A new, real world was born, and after a short while, the illusory world completely disappeared. It was his god country. Luo Feng took a step and teleported himself into his god country. The god country was filled with energy, and it was constantly expanding. The remote ocean was nothing compared to the God country. God Palace! Build! In the sky above remote ocean, a boundless amount of godly power gathered, and a towering palace came into being. It was a God palace emanating golden light and gold law energy. The top of the palace was a great spire and became the center of the God country the moment it was formed. A God country, my God country! Luo Feng stood in the sky with his eyes closed and arms opened. He felt fantastic. He felt an instant connection to this place as if he had physically become the God country himself. Mountains, plains, swamps, a desert, an oasis, lakes. Luo Feng sensed the entire God country with his eyes closed. At this moment, he and his God country were combined as one. Remote ocean's power merged with that of the God country, empowering each other multiple times. This God country is me, and I am this God country, said Luo Feng. The power of my God country might be able to kill some universe knights. Luo Feng opened his eyes and smiled. The foundation of the God country was of the utmost importance. The internal world was the foundation, and an unstable foundation wouldn't lead to a sturdy God country. Luo Feng's internal world had a diameter of 600 billion miles, which made his God country a rival of lots of universe knights. This single step made all the difference. My God country is finished. Luo Feng looked at the remote ocean. My remote ocean is able to perform my talent technique. I am the universe. Remote ocean body is already able to control the space and time around him to some extent. Together with I am the universe and the power of a God country, it's terrifically mighty. The God country, the remote ocean, and the talent technique I am the universe combined would wield exceptional power. However, if Luo Feng needed to risk everything like that, it meant he was cornered in a hopeless situation. After all, the God country was the vital element. If it was destroyed, Luo Feng could never improve himself unless a supreme being turned back time and helped him. And turning back time, on Luo Feng would come at a high cost. The remote ocean guarded the God country. Luo Feng carried Masha body, golden horn beast body, and remote ocean body at the height of more than 5,000 miles. Each of the three bodies resided in one world ring. I can enjoy fighting as much as I can now, said Luo Feng. Even if all my bodies are killed, remote ocean can recover them immediately. After all, even the godly power of the other bodies combined was nothing compared to what the remote ocean contained. The only thing I need to be mindful of is my true treasures. Luo Feng left his God country but was soon summoned by Primal Chaos City Leader. At the apex of Thunder Island, Shua! Luo Feng showed up and saw Primal Chaos City Leader standing at the edge of the cliff. Teacher, Luo Feng said respectfully. Come here, Luo Feng. Primal Chaos City Leader said as he turned around, saw Luo Feng, and smiled. Luo Feng walked to Primal Chaos City Leader, confused. Yes? Luo Feng stood behind Primal Chaos City Leader. Primal Chaos City Leader said, Stand right next to me and look down. Luo Feng took a step forward and stood side by side with Primal Chaos City Leader. He looked down and saw fog pervading the mountain. Through the haze, he could see the indistinct shapes of palaces. All the undying fighters of the Virtual Universe Company live here, Primal Chaos City Leader said, looking down. The undying fighters live in the palaces on Thunder Island. On the mountainside of the center mountain on Thunder Island live the Universe Knights. As for Universe Masters, they live in the palaces at the top of the mountain, and some mighty Universe Overlords live there as well. Luo Feng nodded. He realized that having a palace at the top of the mountain on Thunder Island meant standing among the supreme beings in the universe. Now that you've become undying, it's your time to pick a place to live, Primal Chaos City Leader said. Although I haven't seen you fight since you became undying, my guess is that you have the power of a Universe Knight. Choose a place on the mountainside and build a palace. Luo Feng was dazed. The mountainside? Yes, teacher, Luo Feng answered respectfully. Every Universe Knight has their own dimension as their territory, Primal Chaos City Leader said. I'll arrange a new dimension for you. Luo Feng blinked in surprise. He was already treated as a Universe Knight. Universe Knights are already regarded as seniors of the human race, and they're involved with lots of important issues, Primal Chaos City Leader said, looked at Luo Feng. Universe Knights can all participate in the Supreme Council of the human race, but you're just undying. Palaces on Thunder Island, dimensions in the virtual universe, these are all arranged by the virtual universe. I can make the decisions regarding those issues. However, the qualifications for joining the Supreme Council is decided by the entire human race. The virtual universe can't solely decide. I understand, Luo Feng answered. The Supreme Council, he had heard of it before. It was a council that only great beings stronger or equal to Universe Knights could participate in. Lots of major issues concerning the human race were discussed in the council. I believe that you have the power of a Universe Knight, but that's not enough, Primal Chaos City Leader said. You need to show your power and prove that you're entitled to the status of a Universe Knight. Empty words are not enough. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Without battle records, nobody would be convinced. After all, humans were not special life forms. Luo Feng was incredible when he was a sector lord, and hence some great beings suspected that Luo Feng defeated the undying fighters using some special valuables. However, that didn't mean that Luo Feng could defeat Universe Knights. Universe Knights and undying fighters were at two totally different levels. Undying fighters were only foot soldiers, future great beings and mentors of great beings of the next generation, but Universe Knights were the elites of a race. As for Universe Overlords and Universe Masters, they were the real pillars of a race. Okay. Primal Chaos City Leader nodded. Choose a place on the mountainside. Yes, teacher. Luo Feng flew out and dove towards the mountainside. Primal Chaos City Leader watched Luo Feng diving. He had witnessed the scene when Luo Feng became undying, and thus he believed that Luo Feng had the power of a Universe Knight. He even believed it when Luo Feng said he could defeat Zhu Chong Emperor. On the mountainside of the central mountain. The central mountain was a towering peak, and the palaces built here, where the Universe Knights lived, stood adjacent to each other. Their servants and disciples all lived in the same palaces, which had diameters of tens of thousands of miles or even more. These great structures only enhanced the beauty of the enormous central mountain. So, Luo Feng flew above the mountainside and looked for a suitable location. Luo Feng, he heard a voice say. Ha! Luo Feng turned his head and saw a shadow flying toward him. It was Nine-Blade Knight in a cyan cape and purple scales on his head. Nine-Blade Knight! Luo Feng smiled. Nine-Blade Knight greeted Luo Feng like a friend. He thought to himself, although Luo Feng is not as strong as I am, he's the renowned peerless genius and a disciple of Primal Chaos City Leader. We're at the same status in the virtual universe. Nine-Blade Knight smiled. Luo Feng, are you going to see your teacher? No. Luo Feng shook his head. I'm looking for a place to build my palace. Build a palace? Nine-Blade Knight was perplexed. You've become undying, I presume, but undying fighters are supposed to build palaces at the bottom of the mountains. Why are you flying here? Ordinary undying fighters were not qualified to be on the mountainside. As for the servants in the palaces of the Universe Knights, they were only allowed to walk inside the palaces. Primal Chaos City Leader asked me to pick a place on the mountainside to build my palace. Luo Feng answered. Nine-Blade Knight was dazed at first. Then he felt discontent. The very idea was outrageous. Everyone needed to follow the rules. Even the person in charge of the virtual universe should be expected to appeal to the great beings under him before making such a decision. Building a palace on the mountainside was a privilege of Universe Knights. Even the invincible emperors had to build their palaces at the bottom of the mountain. There should be no exceptions. Then keep searching, said Nine-Blade Knight. He frowned and left. Luo Feng murmured. Nine-Blade Knight seems upset, but I can't blame him, as I haven't proven my power yet. It's understandable that some Universe Knights are not comfortable with this. But he didn't scold me, perhaps because he doesn't dare offend Primal Chaos City Leader. Luo Feng picked his location and architecture style that day. The virtual universe helped Luo Feng build the palaces. But there was disturbance among the Universe Knights after Luo Feng began building palaces on the mountainside. Blade River Emperor Luo Feng is building palaces on the mountainside? Even if he became undying, he's not qualified to build palaces on the mountainside. It's outrageous. He needs to show his power no matter who his teacher is. Primal Chaos City Leader. The Universe Knights on the mountainside gathered quite often. It was a social circle of Universe Knights, and normally, they felt superior to all undying fighters. But now, there would be an undying fighter living among them. Although they didn't dare to swear because of Primal Chaos City Leader, they all expressed their discontent when they gathered. On the mountainside on Thunder Island, a waterfall roared down toward the enormous lake under it. There was an island with a diameter of several miles in the lake, and there, 8 beings chatted with each other. Primal Chaos City Leader is the pillar of the human race, as he's made great contributions to us. But that Blade River Emperor Luo Feng, how is he related to the contributions of Primal Chaos City Leader? Humph! Primal Chaos City Leader earned his status with his power, his battles, and his contributions. As for Luo Feng, he's just a talent being cultivated and has been using the resources of our race. I didn't see his contributions at all. Why did he get true treasures? Why did he get the Beast God Inheritance token? Talents are just consuming the resources. They actually owe something to our race. As for us, we're earning resources for our race. No contributions, and he's weaker than us. How is he qualified to have our status? A 25-foot-tall being growled in anger. He had massive, strong arms and wore black armor. A huge iron hammer rested beside his seat. What Thunder Knights said makes perfect sense. Yes, it makes sense. Other Universe Knights nodded. Don't talk too much. A handsome man with 6 pairs of wings said. He sat drinking alone. This is arranged by Primal Chaos City Leader, after all. Even if it's Primal Chaos City Leader's arrangement, Luo Feng should know that he isn't qualified to have a place here, Thunder Knight said in a hoarse voice. Yet he built palaces on the mountainside. That means he believes he's qualified to have the same status as us. Look, True Yen is here. It's True Yen. Stop talking. True Yen is very close with Luo Feng. All the Universe Knights raised their heads and saw True Yen Knight fly toward them like a beam of light. Thunder Island contained many great beings. The beings here formed friendships based on their varying levels. Universe Knights would usually befriend each other. True Yen Knight loved making friends with others, and thus he was close to quite a few Universe Knights. True Yen, come and sit down. Yes, True Yen, sit. The Universe Knights were all fairly welcoming. Although they were discontent with Luo Feng, they wouldn't vent their anger on True Yen Knight. After all, True Yen's sincerity had earned him quite a few close Universe Knight friends these years. True Yen Knight approached the handsome man with 6 pairs of wings and laughed. Blacksmith, you seem angry. Want to share with your brother? Bloody Wing Knight, do you mind giving me some of your wine? The winged man smiled and poured some of his wine out. Bloody Wing Knight and Thunder Knight were the most powerful among the 8 Universe Knights. I am indeed angry, Thunder Knight said. Do you know the news about your disciple Luo Feng? The other 7 Universe Knights looked at him unpleasantly, but Thunder Knight glared right back, saying, True Yen will know anyway. Know what? True Yen Knight was dazed. Is it he who is becoming undying? That doesn't have anything to do with me, Thunder Knight said. Do you know that Primal Chaos City Leader allowed him to build palaces on the mountainside like us Universe Knights? True Yen Knight was stunned. Thunder Knight continued. He's only undying. How is he qualified to build palaces on the mountainside? Well, True Yen Knight was rendered speechless. Perhaps Primal Chaos City Leader has other thoughts in mind. Whatever thoughts he has in mind, he shouldn't have done this, Thunder Knight said. How could it convince us of his worthiness? Do you really think Luo Feng is as powerful as we are? Can you believe that? True Yen Knight hesitated to answer. Undying fighters and Universe Knights were at 2 completely different levels. Universe Knights had hundreds of times more godly power than Undying fighters, and along with the huge gap in law comprehension and complexity of techniques, Universe Knights, in general, were thousands of times more powerful than Undying fighters, if not more so. Even for special life forms like Bark Mirror Emperor and Zhu Chong Emperor, they defeated some ordinary Universe Knights with their talent techniques. If it weren't for the talent techniques, the gap between their law comprehension and that of Universe Knights would have crushed them. Thunder Knight shook his head. I'm not being jealous. I just care about the rules of our race. Everyone needs to follow the rules. Otherwise, how will the other great beings be convinced? It's already upset lots of great beings, but nobody dares to challenge the majesty of Primal Chaos City Leader. Hence, they all talk about it secretly and wait for your disciple to bring shame upon himself. If you really want the best for your disciple, please tell him to move off the mountainside unless he wants to be a disgrace. Besides, he just made himself an enemy of many Universe Knights. Isn't that getting the short end of the stick? Thunder is straightforward, but what he said makes perfect sense, Bloody Wing Knight said with a smile. True Yen, you need to think about what's best for your disciple. True Yen Knight was also upset. On the open-air square of the World of Glory, Luo Feng was chatting with Thousand Rain Emperor when someone landed beside him. Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked up and was surprised. Why have you come, teacher? I sent you an email to say that if you wanted me for something, you could go to the virtual universe and ask me and I would be there immediately. Thousand Rain Emperor, I need to have a word with Luo Feng now, True Yen Knight said. Thousand Rain Emperor left immediately. True Yen Emperor sealed the space around him, stared at Luo Feng, and said, I did receive your email, but some of my friends on Thunder Island dragged me into their conversation. Friends? Luo Feng blinked. All because of you. True Yen Knight shook his head. Apparently, building palaces on the mountainside of Thunder Island has upset quite a few Universe Knights. Luo Feng shook his head. Do they really need to be so petty? That's where you're wrong. True Yen Knight frowned. They have eternal lives, and their families have all passed away. They have been practicing for an eternity, and that is how they earn their current status. Their status and their honor might look worthless, but they value it very much. Luo Feng was astounded. Status. Honor. True Yen Knight whispered. I was stuck at the invincible Emperor level for an eternity, and I could only hide. Only after becoming a Universe Knight did I earn a high status and incredible honor, and only after that did I become famous again. Their status and glory were earned by their power and contributions to our race. True Yen Knight sighed. What else do you think they care about aside from their status and honor? Luo Feng now understood completely. He had been wandering in the universe for 50,000 years, but he had been observing the weak. He had only seen a few Universe Knights, and hence, he hadn't realized that Universe Knights were also living beings, just living beings with great power. They were dedicated to something they believed in. Without families, they cared about their race, status, and honor above all else. They could die for their own race. They could die for their own honor. I now understand, Luo Feng said. No wonder so many great beings were disappointed by this. If I were a Universe Knight, I would also be upset if an undying talent suddenly gained the same level of glory as me. You're still young, and you're always at the center, True Yen Knight said. It's normal for you not to realize that. Luo Feng nodded. Yes. Status and glory were incredibly important to a great being. If someone became undying, became a Universe Knight, and died without being known, it would be boring. The most exciting way was to fight for honor, for glory. I know it. Luo Feng smiled. I'll prove to those Universe Knights that I'm a qualified one. I just need to defeat a Universe Knight. Defeat a Universe Knight? True Yen Knight was shocked. He hadn't witnessed the scene when Luo Feng became undying, so even if he had faith in Luo Feng, he couldn't imagine an undying human being defeating a Universe Knight. Even Bark Mirror Emperor could only bully the most mediocre Universe Knights, and he was almost killed by True Yen Knight. Bark Mirror Emperor was a unique life form with a life gene level of 2,000 times. There was a huge gap between undying fighters and Universe Knights. You don't believe me? Luo Feng laughed. Just watch. On the other side of the open-air square. Look, Bark Mirror Emperor. There's Blade River Emperor. Bark Mirror Emperor was sitting with the great beings of the Northern Territory Alliance. He looked at Luo Feng and True Yen Knight from afar. He hated both of their guts. He is indeed more powerful, Bark Mirror Emperor sneered. It seems that this Blade River Emperor has become undying. It's been 80,000 years. He had deep law comprehension before he became undying, yet he still chose to wait for more than 80,000 years. So patient. I've been waiting for 80,000 years. Bark Mirror Emperor clenched his teeth. He wasn't sure whether he could rival True Yen Knight or not. However, he was confident that he could beat the famous Blade River Emperor. I'm undying, and you're undying as well, said Bark Mirror Emperor. It's not bullying if I fight you myself. After all, you're the peerless talent in the universe. Bark Mirror Emperor smirked and showed his fangs. Luo Feng and True Yen Knight were standing afar while True Yen Knight stood up and disappeared. Bark Mirror Emperor approached the heirs of the Hong Alliance. Bark Mirror Emperor is coming, someone said. Bark Mirror Emperor is walking toward us. All the 1,000 heirs in Hong Alliance turned around, including Luo Feng. Luo Feng and the other heirs in the Hong Alliance looked toward Bark Mirror, along with heirs from other groups as well. They were all wondering what Bark Mirror Emperor would like to do. Hung! Bark Mirror Emperor smiled and kept walking toward the Hong Alliance group even though he was being stared at by lots of other heirs. He soon arrived at the where Hong Alliance group had gathered. A Universe Knight within the Hong Alliance stood up. Bark Mirror Emperor, what are you doing here? I'm here for Blade River Emperor. Blade River Emperor? All the heirs who heard this stood up in anticipation. They had all heard that Bark Mirror Emperor had once hunted Blade River Emperor, and the latter could only resort to hiding in the 9 remoteness whirlpool to escape. Now Bark Mirror Emperor was back for Blade River Emperor. Luo Feng looked at Bark Mirror Emperor and asked, "Why are you looking for me, Bark Mirror Emperor?" "Haha, I haven't seen you for more than 80,000 years. Bark Mirror Emperor looked at Luo Feng, smiled, and showed his fangs. "I can already sense that you're more powerful. Blade River Emperor, have you become undying?" Quite a few heirs started to wonder the same thing. Blade River Emperor is indeed more powerful. But still, he can't compare with Bark Mirror Emperor. Bark Mirror Emperor is a unique life form who can rival a universe knight. As for Blade River Emperor, he is, after all, a human being. It's quite normal that he's less powerful. There were many discussions among the heirs in the distance. But Luo Feng wasn't affected by the discussions at all. He nodded and answered, "You're indeed perceptive." "That's right. I just became undying. Congratulations." Bark Mirror Emperor broke into laughter. The legendary Blade River Emperor who could kill an Emperor Limit when he was only a Sector Lord, who could escape me when he was only a Sector Lord, and who could stay alive under the attack from Mud Knight when he was only a Sector Lord. You had 620,000 battles and won almost all of them. Bark Mirror Emperor seemed to be flattering Luo Feng, but his tones sounded aggressive. The heirs listening to the conversation were quite disturbed by his words. Luo Feng's reputation was built on them. However, they had to admit that Luo Feng was indeed impressive to have accomplished so much as a mere Sector Lord. "Now that you've become undying," Bark Mirror Emperor continued, "I have to admit that I was not as good as you when I was a Sector Lord. I'm exhilarated that you've become undying." "Exhilarated? Thanks," Luo Feng said. "If you were that powerful when you were only a Sector Lord," said Bark Mirror Emperor, "you must be much more powerful now that you've become undying." The heirs on the open-air square thought that the way Bark Mirror Emperor complimented Luo Feng was bizarre, but they agreed. Luo Feng must be incredibly strong if he was able to win so many battles without the help of outer force, and he was only a Sector Lord back then. "I'm here," said Bark Mirror Emperor, glaring at Luo Feng. "Firstly to congratulate you, and secondly to challenge you. Blade River Emperor, you're worth challenging. Blade River Emperor, you're worth all my efforts. Do you dare have a life or death battle with me, Blade River Emperor?" Bark Mirror Emperor gazed at Luo Feng. Silence. The open-air square went silent instantly. The heirs were all excited, but they kept quiet and watched Luo Feng. "Life or death battle?" Luo Feng frowned. "Whereabouts? Inside the world of glory? Of course not." Bark Mirror Emperor licked his lips, and his golden eyes glinted with hostility. "I mean a real-life battle. We can pick a place in the Ancestral God's secret region and have a battle with the promise that neither of us will accept any assistance. It's an entirely one-on-one, life-or-death battle. Do you dare accept my challenge?" He smirked. "No need to invent excuses. Just tell me, do you dare accept? If you're scared, you can say no. However, I don't think a universe-renowned peerless talent will disappoint me." Bark Mirror Emperor stared at Luo Feng. "Accept? Or not?" The open-air square was deathly silent. Tens of millions of heirs all listened carefully. Blade River Emperor was indeed a legend. Would he fight Bark Mirror Emperor after becoming undying? Even though Bark Mirror Emperor wasn't as fabled as him, he was, after all, a powerful unique life form that could intimidate countless undying fighters. Would he accept the challenge? It was understandable to assume that Luo Feng wouldn't dare accept the challenge. After all, a life-or-death battle invitation from a powerful unique life form was intimidating enough to most. However, his reputation would be shattered if he said no. Luo Feng was undying, but Bark Mirror Emperor was undying as well. They were both undying, yet Luo Feng was still terrified of Bark Mirror Emperor. "Accept or deny?" Bark Mirror Emperor asked again, staring at Luo Feng. "Who?" Luo Feng stood up, looked at Bark Mirror Emperor, and smiled. "How can I not take the chance since you're leaping to your own death?" All the heirs on the open-air square were thrilled. "You accepted it?" Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes gleamed. "Of course," Luo Feng said. He looked around. "I won't deny any challenges from undying fighters." The voice resounded on the entire square. All the heirs were stunned. "Oh, reckless!" What Luo Feng had just said was so audacious that Shu Chong Emperor, who had been watching from afar, couldn't help smiling. A gloomy teenager in half-transparent purple armor chuckled. "Zhu Chong Emperor, he said he won't deny any challenges from undying fighters," said the teenager. It was difficult to tell whether the teenager was male or female. Are you just going to let him go like that? If I were still undying, I would kill him myself. Shu Chong Emperor glanced at the purple-armored teenager beside him. Purple Rain Knight, you're already a universe knight. Don't meddle. The purple-armored teenager was an incredible unique life form with a life gene level higher than that of Shu Chong Emperor. He was the mightiest undying fighter on Bauhinia Island before, and he had killed quite a few universe knights when he was undying. After becoming a universe knight, he grew to be a powerful combatant in the ancestral god school. He might not even survive Bark Mirror Emperor, let alone me. Shu Chong Emperor shook his head. Luo Feng is too arrogant. He may be a peerless talent, but Bark Mirror Emperor is a special life form with a life gene level of 2,000 times. That's a huge gap. Yes. Purple Rain Knight nodded. Special life forms had their own sense of pride. Haha, fantastic. Bark Mirror Emperor broke into laughter. I'll send an email to you later and tell you the universe coordinates. I'll choose an area right next to the portal of the ancestral god's secret region. Okay. Luo Feng nodded. What time? The sooner the better. But I need to give you some time for preparations. In half a day, and I'll tell you the location later. Bark Mirror Emperor was further excited. Okay. Luo Feng nodded. Haha, Bark Mirror Emperor laughed again. He stared at Luo Feng. Blade River Emperor, I didn't imagine you would be this brave. I hope you can still laugh at the end of the battle. Luo Feng smiled. The one with a strong personality, Bark Mirror Emperor said, grinning, is always the one who dies first. So, Bark Mirror Emperor disappeared. Luo Feng looked around and noticed Shu Chong Emperor and the purple-armored teenager staring at him. He smiled and vanished. The news incited a firestorm. All the heirs in Ancestral God's school were thrilled. Even the battle between two real universe knights wouldn't have drawn so much attention. After all, a battle between two undying fighters with universe knight power was rarer. Bark Mirror Emperor was a unique life form with the power of a universe knight. Blade River Emperor, a universe-renowned super talent of the human race, and he had just become undying. A life-or-death battle between those two. It was such explosive news that billions of races in the universe knew about it instantly through the heirs on Bauhinia Island. All the superpowers knew about it immediately, and so did the human race. What? Blade River Emperor Luo Feng is going to engage in a life-or-death battle with Bark Mirror Emperor in the ancestral god's secret region? Is that a joke? Bark Mirror Emperor is a powerful special life form, and he has the power of a universe knight. Even ordinary universe knights can be killed by him. Blade River Emperor is simply reckless. Blade River Emperor has a clone talent technique. He won't die, but he can get killed, and then his treasures will be taken away. His true treasures were bestowed by our human race. If they're taken by Bark Mirror Emperor, it's a loss for all of us. Reckless, arrogant, foolhardy. Those universe knights who were already dissatisfied with Luo Feng all thought this peerless talent was too haughty. They had seen many peerless talents who were similarly full of themselves, and they would only come to their senses after they suffered great losses. He will come to his senses after this battle. However, it will cost him true treasures. Meanwhile, Luo Feng spent his time in the palace on Bauhinia Island. This Bark Mirror Emperor is indeed confident. Luo Feng chuckled. Master, said Tianqin Emperor, Primal Chaos City Leader gave you a big challenge by letting you live on the mountainside of Thunder Island. Of course I know that. Luo Feng nodded. That's why I need Bark Mirror Emperor. True gold fears no fire. The stronger the fire is, the purer the gold is. It's about time. Luo Feng stood up. We congratulate our master beforehand, for we know you will return with a victory, Tianqin Emperor said respectfully. Prepare a celebration feast, said Luo Feng. I'll invite Thousand Rain Emperor, Chaman Emperor, and my teachers after I defeat Bark Mirror Emperor. He laughed, then teleported himself to the square in front of the leader's palace on Bauhinia Island. He then teleported himself to the secret region through the waterfall.